GCS is a 16-year-old IT outsourcing company. We provide services to small and mid-market companies, either to replace an IT department for smaller companies that don't need full-time staff, or to supplement a department at larger organizations for specific projects or skill sets. In 16 years, we've grown to about 50 employees, about $10 million a year revenue. And in 2012, the company was at a crossroads of sorts. We had a number of different options in front of us. We had achieved a minimum level of success. We were about a third the size that we are today. Things were stable and going well, but the desire to take them to that next level was strong, both within myself and the executive team here at GCS. TAB was an outlet for that. We had done a little bit of research into other peer groups. Felt like there were some that were not good fits for us based upon travel requirements or hours commitment. TAB was a good fit in between what I had time to invest in and the demands and commitments required of the group. Yeah, the first meeting is definitely interesting. You walk into a room, the immediate sense is the deep relationships everyone in the room has except you. In my case, the board had been together for several years, fairly static membership. I was the new guy. Nearly every business in the room was far more successful than I was. At the same time, there was an immediate sense of trust and vulnerability. The problems that were expressed there that very first day really took the curtain down as far as what is behind the success of some of those people. You had companies ranging in size from $10 million to $80 million a year revenue. We were doing less than 4 at that point in time. I felt like I learned something from everybody who brought a problem to the board that day, and was a little reluctant to share the problems that I had at first, but that was quickly overcome. You know, I've got a great executive team here at GCS that see the same details every day in and out, and collaboratively we've come up with some solutions to those problems. I can go home and talk to my wife, I can talk to my family and friends about business challenges, and they bring a certain perspective to it, normally divorced from some of those detailed realities. TAB is different. TAB, because the industries are so diverse, the details are a waste of everyone's time. Nobody has the time or interest in getting down to that very basic level, so you have a very high level conversation. This is really about the big do's and don'ts of running a business, and those are nearly universal across every type of industry. Within our board, we have an incredibly diverse set of businesses represented, but the problems and solutions are very common to us all. I trust everybody in that room with the information that I'm sharing, but also with the answers they're giving me to be forthright, honest, and from the heart. But over the course of the 4 years plus we've been in the group now, I would say that every critical issue within GCS has been discussed and hashed out within that team. A once-a-month meeting gives you adequate time to think through those problems ahead of time, but it's frequent enough that you do get some real-time feedback from the guys, and certainly there's more contact going on between us outside of those meetings via email and phone and whatnot. You know, one event in particular is notable. GCS has had a relationship with a very large supplier over the last several years that was both incredibly successful and incredibly costly at the same time. Those costs are easy for me to count financially, but some of the costs weren't so obvious to me. The board really honed in on the cultural aspects of the interaction and helped me view the problem through a different light and ultimately make a very important decision for the firm. One of the more common topics of conversation we have on our board are mergers and acquisitions, the do's and don'ts, and many of the people in that board have been through both sides of it and understand better than I do the ins and outs of that process. The risks of that process are obviously well known, but the challenges really are in the details. On my board, you have folks that have opened up remote offices, closed remote offices, bought remote companies, managed all the details of that process. That's been invaluable in our process of evaluating that situation for us. Yeah, TAB's a great fit for members of all sizes. And you have some very high growth oriented boards. You have some more lifestyle type business boards. You have some smaller firms wanting to become larger, some smaller firms very comfortable with where they're at. And each one of those positions is going to find a home within TAB and benefit from their membership. You know, a common conversation I have with prospective members is, who do you ask for help? And that answer almost always is, I don't have anyone outside of the business to discuss these issues with. I don't have a third-party perspective on the business. TAB is going to give you that. You're going to benefit from the experiences of the board members, They're going to have gone through many of the same challenges that you are going to go through, and there'll be a wealth of knowledge during that process.